This is the Barry Richards Show. WBSM On Demand.
Without further ado,
WBSM presents The Barry Richards Show. Streaming live on WBSM.com and the WBSM app. Call 508-996-0500. Text us using App Chat on the WBSM app. Now, The Barry Richards Show.
Well, I guess it would be nice if I could touch your body. I know not everybody has got a body like you, but I gotta think twice before I give my heart away. And I know all the games you play because I play them too. Oh, but I need some time off from that emotion. Time to pick my heart up off the floor.
All right, 207 on a Thursday, 508-996-0500 is our phone number. And just out here, I'm just hearing this for the first time. Police arrested pro-Palestinian protester Atta Atman while allegedly armed with a gun at the University of South Florida campus. This happened during a We Hate Israel, a We Hate Jews rally on Tuesday at the University of South Florida campus. Fox 13 is reporting that Ottman was among 9 others arrested, all 10 of whom ranged in age from 20 to 39. All of those arrested were charged with unlawful assembly. Among other things, charges beyond unlawful assembly included trespassing, resisting an officer without violence, and aggravated assault in an attempt to commit a felony with a weapon. Ottman's charges include possession of a firearm on school property, which is a felony. Trying to see here about his immigration status, if they say anything on the story at all. On Wednesday, a larger group of protesters, approximately 250 to 300 people, marched toward the plaza and then returned to their starting point without incident. It doesn't mention anything about Atta Ottman's status. You know what I find interesting? I'm looking at live video right now, or live footage from New York City, and apparently the We Hate Israel encampment at NYU has been reestablished. You know, and Tuesday night, when you're trying to watch the damn Bruins game, I think it was Wednesday night. Was it Wednesday night? Tuesday night. Last night was Wednesday night. And you had all of the activity going on at we were watching live Columbia, but there was also a cleanup or a clean sweep of the encampment at NYU. See, this is the problem when you send police, and think of the time and the money that it costs to go in and clean these encampments out, right? And these protesters were arrested on minor charges, released, never prosecuted. In many cases, like the ones from Columbia, the charges get wiped away, and you're not facing anything. So go right back out and do it again. But how does New York University, for example, have the police come in and sweep the campus and then allow another encampment to set up? I mean, as soon as you see the first tent coming across the gate, you call the police, right? Don't you? And you say, hello, they're back. Can you come? How do you allow another encampment to form? I didn't understand this, but now apparently New York police are going to have to put their officers on the line again and spend all that money to go out there and break down these camps, process and arrest all these people. All this costs money. It costs the taxpayers money to do all of this. This isn't free. So apparently NYU has a new encampment set up. How long before UCLA has a new encampment set up? And we just keep playing this kabuki dance over and over and over again before something is finally done. Again, federal charges. Why didn't Biden announce that this morning? Beats the hell out of me. 508-996-0500. You're next in WBSM. Good afternoon.
Hey, Barry, how are you?
Good. How are you, my friend?
Good, thanks. Hey, so I have a question. I was fortunate enough to grow up in a community that was very diverse and had quite a few Jewish kids. And to be honest with you, no one really thought anything of anything. How come, like, you have Hollywood and all these actors that support Biden and you know, are quick to be very opinionated? How come none of them are speaking up about how this country is kind of handling the situation?
Well, it's interesting because none of these liberals or Democrats, you're not hearing from any of them. I mean, they're all hiding under the... I mentioned earlier Chuck Schumer. I mean, New York University and Columbia University, all that we saw go down there this week. I mean, he is the U.S. Senator from New York. And he's Jewish. Why hasn't he said anything? Why hasn't he appeared there? You know, so I'm with you. I mean, I don't know why we're not hearing... you know, the only thing we're hearing from them is criticism of Netanyahu and in Israel.
Like I watched an interview with Howard Stern and Joe Biden, and you know, Howard Stern, who made his fortune off of lesbians and being outside the box with, you know, whatever he wanted to do, fat man or whatever, you know, called Joe the best president that we've ever had, and really, and I'm like, he's Jewish, Howard.
Yeah.
He went to BU. I mean, I don't understand how that Mike Rappaport, I saw on my phone that he's kind of saying the same thing. He's kind of, you know, wondering why not more people are. I mean, these are very influential people in Hollywood and that control a lot of stuff, and they're okay with that. I mean,
here's a part of it. This is just a personal opinion, okay? I don't think many of the folks in Hollywood have enough intelligence to figure out, you know, the reality of this. But during the last, up until now, say between 2015 up until maybe a couple of months ago, we did hear from the Hollywood people. We did hear from Meathead. Where's Meathead, right? We've heard all these people, and Michael Moore, all of these, they were all very vocal about how Donald Trump and his supporters, the MAGA right, we were all white supremacists, remember? We were all the ones that were out there committing all these anti-Semitic acts in this country. Anytime a synagogue was burned or damaged or whatever, there was a SWAT sticker that popped up somewhere. Donald Trump. It was Trump and his white supremacist MAGA supporters all over. But you're right. All of a sudden, now that we see that it is actually the left wing of the Democrat Party that is really responsible for all of the hatred against Jews in this country. You don't hear a peep out of the Democrats. Nothing. Not a word. And so that says either they're stupid or they support what's happening.
I just don't understand if you've lived the last 4 years. And I'm not saying Trump's the answer or whatever. I mean, you know, I wish there was someone else, quite frankly, but there seems not to be. And I think he's the guy for the dirty job that needs to be done now.
Yep, I agree.
How can you say that these last 4 years with the wars, everything that's going on, and now with these colleges, how can you possibly sit there and say we're in better shape than we were before, and
we're not
a good president?
And see, but let me ask you this: so you're not a big Trump fan, and that's fine. I mean, that's certainly this is America. That's your right. But you say Trump's the guy to come in to do the heavy lifting right now. You know, so you look back and what I just told you about, and I'm sure you realize this is true, right? Over the last 6, 7, 8 years, all we've heard about is what a white supremacist Trump is, and you know he's the Jew hater, and it's all of us MAGA people, the people that support Trump. And nobody ever questions that narrative, but now we're looking and we're saying, well, gee, maybe Trump was right about this, that, or the other thing, and maybe he's the guy that we need to come in and fix things. Well, has it ever occurred to you that a lot of the things that you don't like about Trump were based on stories or innuendos or suggestions by these same people on the left, including the media, and if they weren't really true to begin with?
I mean, I voted for him twice, and I'll vote for him again.
Yeah.
The only thing that I have a problem with, sometimes I feel like he crosses the line a little. It's funny, and I laugh, and I probably shouldn't, but
yes, you
I
should.
think sometimes,
if you find it funny, laugh, because it is fun. Otherwise, you go nuts if you don't laugh.
you know, like, but other than that, I mean, let's be honest. No one wants, there's only one guy that can clean this up. And I think we're better off rallying behind that than we are to keep on dividing ourselves, you know?
Well, you know, for the longest time, we've had politicians, and we still do, that go in and they're pretentious and they're fake and they're, you know, they go along to get along. They don't want to offend anybody and do anything. We need somebody in this country that goes in and breaks some eggshells. You know, you need somebody that's going to go in and rattle things and shake things and piss people off and offend people. We need that because our country is in such dire shape right now that we need somebody that's not afraid to say what he thinks. Whether you agree with what he says or not, he's not afraid to say it. And he stands by what he believes. And when he says he's going to do something, he does it. And that's exactly what we need right now, I think.
And one more question to you. Don't you think it's key for him to pick a VP that can kind of really work here, or someone that a lot of people can identify with? Who do you think he should pick for vice president? I
don't know. You know, Kristi Noem was on my short list, and then she had to write that stupid book about shooting her dog in the head, and that killed her political career. She's over. So I don't think that's going to happen. You know, I heard Bill O'Reilly suggest today on his segment here on the program, he was talking about Sarah Huckabee. That's an interesting thought.
Yeah,
Had never even thought of that before.
That's an interesting thought.
Yeah, never even gave that any thought before. But I think there's a lot of folks out there. I think Tim Scott could bring something to the table. The one thing about the Republican side is they've got a fairly deep bench right now with new young people that can bring a lot to the table. And so I'd be interested to hear more. You know, Bill O'Reilly also said Trump is sure to surprise you, and that's for sure. He's always thinking ahead of us. So I can't wait to hear some of the names of the people that he's considering. But I think anybody that he picks is better than the clown we've got in there right now for a vice president.
Absolutely, and great show. I enjoy listening to you. You bring a lot to the table, and I like the fight that you have in you.
Thank you, my friend. Appreciate it. That was my Irish mother. She taught me how to take no hostages. Thanks for the call. I appreciate it. 508-996-0500. You're next on WBSM.
Good afternoon.
Hi.
I was reading the news, and I ran across an article, and it was about this vote on housing in Massachusetts that they had. And it was supposed to try to give the veterans a preference. And the article in the New Bedford Guide was straightforward, saying the disgust that the 5 New Bedford area legislators voted against it.
Yeah.
And I was just wondering, like, where's the outrage on that?
Well, I mean, you know, the outrage has been missing forever. And that's why our delegation, almost everybody in our delegation, has been in office for God knows how many years now, right? 30 years.
Yeah.
Tony Cabral's been in 30 years, and because there is no outrage, because people don't pay attention and they just don't.
I'm a supporter of the veterans, and I think the seniors, the veterans, everybody's been pushed aside by this illegal crisis that we have. They keep bringing them more in, flying them in, and I mean we're up above $650 billion spent on this countrywide, and when's it going to stop? I mean I think that's driving inflation too, and it's breaking the backs of a lot of Americans.
No, and it will continue to until the voters say enough is enough. And, you know, unfortunately, anybody who's shocked with you know, Maura Healey and her support of illegal immigrants and, you know, the actions of people like Tony Cabral and all of that, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, first of all, I've been warning you about it forever, but, I mean, they tell you exactly what they're going to do. and people go out and vote for him anyway. And I mean, Maura Healey, I've played tape here over and over and over again of Maura Healey from 2019 when she was Attorney General, talking about how here I am in Tijuana, Mexico, and I'm with all these people that want to come to the United States and Donald Trump's abhorrent policies and so on and so forth. So, I mean, these people tell you what they're going to do. We just don't listen. We go out and vote for them. You know why? Because Tony Cabral shows up at your grandfather's funeral and, or he delivers Meals on Wheels to your mother.
Well, I think Haley was a big mistake for the state of Massachusetts. But since the 2020 election, I mean, Biden, he was touted as the savior, and he was going to bring us all together and make America a better place to live. Well, I think the majority of Americans have had enough of the Biden disaster.
Did you ever believe that to be true?
I didn't. No, I didn't. I saw his track record all the way through Congress, and he was, to me, a pathological liar. But,
Joe Biden's been a buffoon ever since he's been in public life. It's not just because he beat Trump or whatever. I mean, Joe Biden has been a liar and a buffoon. I mean, back in 1988, he had to drop out of the race for the presidential nomination because he stole somebody's material. He plagiarized somebody's material.
Sure.
And so...
I think that you're right on the button with that, and we can only hope that America wakes up, and we need change in the White House 100%.
I think there's enough going on right now. I'll tell you what, maybe about 4 weeks ago or 5 weeks ago, I was still kind of concerned, but I think there's enough going on right now. Everything between what we're seeing here, a two-tier justice system. You see what's going on with Trump. You see what's going on with the border. Inflation is getting worse instead of better. Gas prices going up again. The veterans being denied housing so that we can give it to illegal immigrants. The poor minority kids in Roxbury being kicked out of their gyms so that we can put. I think people are seeing enough. And what's going on in the college campuses, the refusal of the president to actually really come out and take this situation on the college campuses head on. I think people have had enough, and I think people want some change. And we'll see what's going to happen in November. That'll be the big determiner.
Yep. I don't think from here to November it's going to get any better.
No, well, it's not. And see, that's the thing. No matter who wins in November, I think all hell's going to break loose. So,
sure.
Yeah. Thank you, my friend. Good call. I appreciate it very much. 508-996-0500 is the number. And let's grab this one. You're next on WBSM. Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon, Barry.
Hey, how are you?
Good. Your last caller was so right. It is so wrong to think that the people in this state are going to put illegal alien lawbreakers ahead of our veterans. It's a disgrace. It's an absolute disgrace. And people, like you say, people should be outraged. But, I've come to the conclusion that, you always wonder, what can we do? What can we do? And we as taxpayers have to start demanding that anyone and everyone that holds a public position and is not doing the job that they were elected to do, that they be forced to resign. And we have to get really, talking about getting tough, we have to get tough because this is our money that they are squandering, they are wasting, they are stealing, and they are using against us, not for us. Yeah. And their job as a politician, I don't care if you're on a school committee, I don't care if you're the superintendent of a public school, if you're the fire chief, the police chief, a select board, a city council person, the mayor. I don't care who you are. We have to start more local because we're all, and I'm guilty of this too. I'm looking at the presidential election, but we don't really have a lot to do with that, but we can make change locally within our own towns, within our own cities.
Well, this is how the other side did it, and this is why we, have Drag Queen Story Hour in preschool, because for years and years and years, we looked at school as a daycare system for our kids and dropped them off and didn't really pay attention. We didn't vote, and, school boards were taken over by the socialists. And after decades of having socialists running our school boards, and then moving up and running our select boards, and then moving up and being elected state representative, we've got the situation that we've got today. And now people are starting to wake up and say, oh, my God, how did we get on the verge of socialism? Well...
Yeah, and parents need to really pay attention, because what's happened with a lot of these groups is all about feelings. It's not about education. It's not about teaching your children and educating them, because let's face it, they've removed civics from the classroom. They've removed history from the classroom. They removed cursive writing from the classroom. They removed everything that makes sense. They're teaching them this crazy math that makes, learning math more difficult. And then they teach them all this insanity about, girls can be boys and boys can be girls, and it's all about your feelings. And then we have people on these school boards, like we have in the Tri-Town area, that signed a 5-year contract with this group, Five Fly, for SEL, which is social emotional learning. And if you want to see a bunch of crap...
Well, you've got some buttes on your school board down there. I mean, you've got some... these are people that definitely came up through the indoctrination system, and they are real beauties out there.
But you know what? You know what the problem with these beauties are? They're all over. They're like they've got their tentacles everywhere. They're like an octopus with their tentacles everywhere. They're on they're in all these different boards in the town, and they want to control everything. And I've seen it in another town. This whole family, and I won't mention the town, they want to control everything.
But see, that's what happened when we don't care. When we would rather go out and do other things than run for seats or serve on boards or whatever. We're too busy. We leave it up. Well, these are the people that are more than happy to serve on those boards and commissions and run for school committee.
Take control.
Sure.
Take control of your town and your city, and people let them, because like you said, parents are busy now. So in some of the elementary schools, they have these filthy, disgusting they're not pornographic, but they're books about all this ridiculous, this woke garbage. But because they're approved by the American Library Association, the school committee say, oh, no, they have to stay in school because they've been approved. And you as a parent...
Well, because people have been intimidated by... You know what happens when people shout the loudest at you, they generally win an argument, right? Because they're louder than you and they can shout you down. So when you get these paid... people who are out there lobbying for these kind of things, like the LGBTQ groups and all of that, and they intimidate. If you don't put these books into schools, they're going to yell louder than you, and they're going to out you, and they're going to protest you, and they're going to protest. So you go along with whatever they want to do. And this is how they force their way in, and they do it and do it over and over again. Now we don't just have drag queens. We have drag queens that are jumping up and down singing "If You're Happy and You Know It, Free Palestine." Yeah, so what's next? If you're happy and you know it, kill Trump?
Yeah. That you talk about that queen, and that is just so insane to think that people. But like people say, that's the indoctrination of the parents. What is wrong with the parents who are bringing their children to go see a drag queen who's teaching them this song? But that is the ultimate in indoctrination. But yet the parents are allowing it to happen. So
well, we're a couple of generations into this now, Kathy. See, I'm not sure exactly what it started when we were kids. They started the indoctrination process, but it was slow. And they just started again, and they took prayer out of school and all this kind of stuff. But slowly but surely the indoctrination process, and there are periods, particularly since the new technology period, where parents have cell phones and computers and all these other things to do that they're too busy to pay attention. It speeds up. And the parents of the kids that are out there today, hey, ho, hey, and ho-hoing on the college campuses, their parents were indoctrinated from preschool all the way up. So they are peddling to their kids what they learned.
Yeah, I know. We're in such a predicament. It's unbelievable. The people with common sense, older people like us, but there are a lot of younger people, though. I have to say, I have met quite a few younger people who I've been so impressed with, because they do have conservative values, and they are starting to wake up, especially if they have children. They send their children to school, and they see what their children come home with, and they're horrified at what they see. So there are some young people, but they just have to, not be afraid to speak up. Do not let them intimidate you, and speak up and be bold. And that's the problem with People
They
who are
got to
conservative.
care. The bottom line is they got to care and they got to pay attention. And again, you know what? People out there, you need to start asking yourself some questions because, it's like I've stated and like I know most of you realize, your depth of knowledge on a lot of this stuff is skin deep. Okay, it's what you were taught. It's what you were taught in the rotten, corrupt, filthy public education system in this country, and that includes our entire area around here. We're not exempt from that. We're deep into it, and I just mentioned to you about what Mayor Mitchell wants to do with Voc and so on and so forth. He wants to corrupt that. Our public education system is so corrupt. They teach you this stuff, but they don't teach you a whole lot of depth about it. Washington was bad. Jefferson was bad. The Constitution sucks. America sucks. We're evil people. We're white supremacists. You've got white privilege. Israel is bad. Israel is committing genocide against those poor people in Hamas, and so on and so forth. But so you learn this. It's beaten into you. You learn this. And so when you're out there, hey, hey, ho, ho, we're telling your kids to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. By the way, don't these parents wonder where their kids are all night while they're sleeping in these tents on college campuses? But while you're out there, you believe in this stuff. Well, I was taught this, so hey, hey, ho, ho, all the Jews have got to go. And then a reporter comes over and will ask you, well, what do you believe in? Well, I believe that all Jews have got to go. Why do you believe that? Well, they're committing genocide against the Palestinians. Prove that. Tell me what. And they don't know. There's just a certain depth of this knowledge that they have because it's been painted on them over all these years. Once you get beneath that surface, there's no base of knowledge. There's no historical reference. There's no understanding of history. So I love when Don calls up and gives us these great history lessons about the issues that we're talking about. And but you can't get one of these kids off the college campuses. Hell, you can't even get one of these news anchors to give you that kind of depth of knowledge. The reporters that are out there, you listen to ABC at the top of the hour, and they're like, oh, gee, the poor kids on the campus. They have no depth of knowledge. They're just idiots that have a good sounding reading voice. And on TV, they happen to be pretty and have nice hair, so they get to do TV, but they have no depth of knowledge. They have no understanding of the things that they're talking about. Only what they've been told through the indoctrination process. So we have a society of people who have been through the indoctrination process. Their parents have been through the indoctrination process. They're walking around talking like they're drones, like they're zombies. Oh, we got to hate Israel, got to hate Israel, got to hate America, got to hate America. Why? Why would you? Oh, genocide, Joe, genocide. But what are you talking about? I don't know. That's just what they taught me to say. And there you have it. 508-996-0500. Thank you, Kathy. I appreciate it. I didn't mean to leave you hanging there, but you are next in WBSM. Thanks for hanging on.
Hello, Barry.
Hi.
Hey, by the way, I've been on the highway twice in the last 2 days.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, the gypsy moth caterpillars, their nests are all over the place. I
Really?
think they're going to be bad. Yeah.
Wow.
They're starting to come out. Sometimes the nests are only about as big as a $50, but you can see little spots of them all over the place.
Okay, is that brought about by the moisture, you think, from all the rain we've had?
I think it's cyclical, isn't it?
That's probably very true, yeah, just like the cicadas, however you say it.
Populations, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you're talking about people believing who their friends are and stuff like that. I've been doing a little bit of research today on Biden, and he was pretty chummy with a guy named Robert Byrd, who was a senator from Tennessee, maybe.
No, West Virginia. I think was it Virginia? Well, it was maybe. Yeah, it was one of the southern states. Yeah, I don't remember. I think it was Virginia. Oh yeah, he used to keep his white hood in the closet at the in the Capitol.
Yep, and before he was a politician, he was a recruiter.
Yeah.
For the Ku Klux Klan.
While he was in office, he was a recruiter. He was a grand poobah for the KKK. Hillary Clinton called him her role model, her hero, kissed him on.
He wasn't a beagle. He was a Kleagle.
Yeah, and Biden delivered a eulogy for him.
And I guess his father or his uncle was a grand exalted cyclops in the Klan. So I guess they kind of start in politics by starting off a new segment of the Klan. I guess he had to recruit like 140 or 150 people in order to get recognized as a Kleagle or something like that. I don't know. So he did that. And So, him and Biden are chummy, like you say, and he was a recruiter, and Biden said that he was his mentor and dearest friend. Well, put the math together there.
Do you know he was from West Virginia? Okay, Senator Byrd was from West Virginia. Do you know that he served in the Congress and the Senate for 51 years?
I know he was in there for a long time.
Yeah, he died in 2010. But he was a grand poobah, or whatever you call the dragon, or whatever the hell you called him in the KKK.
Yeah.
And he was the hero of both Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden. Both have said so. Have said so themselves. Yeah.
Right. So do the math. The guy's a recruiter, and Biden's enamored with him. What the heck happened there? Biden got recruited.
Yeah. Yeah, well, absolutely.
Biden got recruited. I don't say that he joined the Klan, but I mean, he got recruited by a recruiter. That's why he's such a great friend of the guy.
Kamala Harris said that he was a racist. Remember when she was running against him? Said he accused him of being a racist because of his views on busing, and then he talked about if you don't vote for me, you're black.
Leopard don't changes spots very often.
Yeah,
Biden's a freaking racist, and he's got black people believing that he's their friend. Oh, what a disdaining view he must have of the black people.
Unbelievable. Yeah, and he's the type that'll come out. Well, I have nothing against blacks. Some of my best friends are blacks. Yeah, I mean, your servants, right? Is that what you mean? Yeah, the guy that shined your shoe on the subway train that used to go over the bridge that just collapsed. Yeah, that guy. Thank you, my friend. 508-996-0500 is the number. You are next on WBSM. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
Hey, just a couple of things. That last caller, that was, that's interesting. You can't make this stuff up, but it's all true. I know it is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Senator Byrd was a well-known member of the KKK. Absolutely. He was a leader. He was a recruiter for the KKK.
I would prefer to be remembered as a leader of the Gambino family than the KKK.
Yeah.
But
yeah. He later said that it was the greatest mistake he ever made in his life. Yeah, just kind of like Ted Kennedy, killing Mary Jo Kopechne. And that was, then he went home and slept it off. Remember that? Greatest mistake he ever made in his life. Another Democrat, another great Democrat.
Yeah. Well, that's funny. I wasn't going to touch on that. But you're talking about the election or Trump, Biden. I find it extremely interesting and somewhat troubling. It's not why I called you, but just as a sidebar. That Biden refuses to give Kennedy any Secret Service protection. I mean, this is a guy that's had two family members assassinated. So it kind of makes me wonder: is that what Crazy Joe is waiting for?
Well, look, this is the guy that's got the entire weight of the Justice Department trying to put Donald Trump in prison. So, does it shock you that he would deny Secret Service to his Democrat opponent?
Absolutely not. But you know what I wanted to just real briefly, Barry, you were talking about Volk and the process and all of that. And, it's not surprising. This started as Ray Charles once said, this fever started long ago. And it started, I believe, it's the same mentality, falls in line. In line might not even be accurate, and falls in lockstep with what started many, many years ago, because I used to coach, but with sports. Little League, T-ball, Pony League, every possible league you could play in before you got to high school. Everybody gets a trophy. We got a trophy for 8th place. And it says right on it, 8th place. We got a trophy for, you don't have to win. All you got to do is sign up for the team, get your uniform, and you're pretty much guaranteed a trophy.
Yeah.
And what you've done to these kids without them, and that's why that's a topic for another day. But when you talk about you can't be indoctrinating them because they haven't developed enough, they're not smart enough. And when you do this to them in even a simple thing like sports, what you've done is take away the motivation.
Oh, no question.
They don't even know it, but you've taken away their one reason to excel. And back in the old days when I played Little League, If you won the game, maybe your coach would take you out for an ice cream cone. But if you lost, there was no way you were getting that ice cream cone.
Right.
You had to win, and it lit a little bit of a fire under your butt to try and do well. You know what I mean?
I remember my kid when he was playing Little League, they got a trophy. It was one of those things everybody gets a trophy, right? And the team lost. They sucked. They got a trophy. And so we got in the car, and it's like, oh, cool, look at your trophy. And then he's like, I don't want this. So what do you mean you don't want this? I didn't earn this. We didn't do anything for this. We lost. We're terrible. Why am I getting a trophy for this? So, out of the mouths of babes sometimes have more sense than we do as adults.
Well, he was smart enough to recognize that. Yeah, sure, that's great. But I'm sure there's a lot of them that are not smart enough to recognize that. And this is the same thing.
But does it mean anything to them? You know what? My kid also played for teams that did win championships, and he played for championship team in football here in Fairhaven. He played, a Little League at Buttonwood Brookline Park, where his team won championships, and those things meant a lot to him. He still has them today. But if a kid is getting a trophy,
he earned them.
Well, he earned them. He still got his jackets. Yeah, but I mean, a kid that gets a trophy for just showing up, does he appreciate it? I mean, you toss it in the back of the car. So when you do get something that you earn, do you appreciate it? If everything is handed to you for nothing, for doing nothing, do you appreciate it when you really accomplish something?
No, and that's why I think this thing with Volk is silly, really, because it's along the same lines.
Oh, of course it is.
You can let those kids into the school that don't deserve it, got poor attendance records, always in trouble, crap for grades. But, we'll let you in. What do you think they're going to do with that opportunity?
Well, they got the right color skin, or they speak the right language, or,
But they're not going to take advantage of it.
No, of course not. And somebody who would...
they're not going to put it... Yeah,
somebody who would is being denied.
That's right.
Yeah, absolutely. Good call, my friend. I appreciate it. 508-996-0500. I got to hit a break. We'll come right back after this. Stay tuned.
I'm a pretty...
I can't stop loving you. I've made up my mind to live in me.
2:46 on a Thursday afternoon. Mention Ray Charles. There's Ray Charles, right? I love Ray Charles. And 508-996-0500 is our phone number. Back to your calls. Thanks for hanging on. You next to WBSM.
Hi, Barry. This is my second call. I'll be brief.
I'll give you a quick minute. Go ahead.
You mentioned some politicians that voted against the veterans' home.
Yeah.
And gave it to illegals. Well, I got quite a few veterans here in the 80s, late 80s and 90s. I want to let them know who it was. Can you...
All of the local state reps.
Okay.
Tony Cabral, Chris Hendricks, Chris Markey, Paul Schmid, the whole bunch of them.
Okay. These old veterans, they vote, so I got to inform them.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? I don't have time to do it now, but if you remind me early in the program tomorrow, and I'll try to remember tonight, I'll dig out the article and read it to you tomorrow so you'll know exactly what the bill is about.
Yeah, they don't pay attention sometimes, but they do vote, and I want to know, I'll let them know who their friends are.
Yeah, there you go. Absolutely. That's the way it works. Got to spread the news. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate it. 508-996-0500. Yeah, I will. I'll try to dig that out. I know I had it. I had it, and I don't know where it is off the top of my head. The story. I'll see if I can find it tonight or tomorrow or before the program tomorrow. I'm looking, as you can tell, I'm digging through my files here to try to see where the story might be, because I do have a couple of minutes that I can mention it if I can find it. But, I'm not sure I'm going to find it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look at it. I'm saying that, and I keep on scrolling here trying to find it. But I will look around for it because I think it's important that you know these things. And I'm glad the gentleman called and asked me to reference who it was that was involved, because it was the entire delegation, the entire local delegation. But the bill, see if I can find see if I can quickly find the bill. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not. I'm sorry, I'm not finding it. I'm distracting myself, but I want to get it. And if I can find, yeah, I'm not finding the story here. All right, sorry about that. I'll do my best. If I can remember tomorrow morning, when I get into the office, I'll dig it out and because I those are the kind of things that don't get reported, and that's half of the problem without having a solid press corps like we used to have in town. I mean, that would have gotten some coverage, but it didn't. And the see that allows the politicians to get away with what they get away with. And I would have been able to find it on my laptop, but I already put my laptop away for the day. My laptop sits here by my side, and I'm scrolling the entire time I'm on the air. I've got two computers to my right, my laptop to my left, and my cell phone in my hand, and the TV monitor over here. So I'm watching things at all times, and I'm constantly scanning around for information while I'm on the air. And if I had my laptop up, I'd be able to find that story. But I just did, during that last commercial, I folded up the laptop and put it in my backpack to get ready to travel here, and so I don't have it. But no, I think it's unconscionable. I think what's going on with this whole veteran situation and the whole homeless situation and the illegals in Massachusetts, it's all part and parcel of what's going on in our country. And I got to say that, I think that's one of the nails that the Democrats put in their own coffin. Because we had a lot of problems in this country. There were a lot of things that people weren't believing. They were believing CNN and MSNBC and all of these different things. And then slowly but surely they began to say, wait a minute, things are not adding up here. And they knew that there was a problem with the immigration system. They saw it with their own eyes, but yet the national media wasn't reporting it. And then somebody just got it to me. Oh my God! I thank you so much. I thank you. This was written by my good friend Michael Sylvia from New Bedford Guide. All 5 New Bedford state representatives, Tony Cabral, Christopher Hendricks, Christopher Markey, Paul Schmidt, and William Strauss, voted against an amendment that would give homeless veterans preference for housing over others, to include non-U.S. citizen migrants. Served your country and paid your taxes, you don't get any benefit over someone who paid no taxes and traveled through 5 countries and dozens of states, breaking immigration laws to get to Massachusetts. Massachusetts Democrats shut down several Republican amendments that would have prioritized Massachusetts residents over newly arrived migrants. The vote was on party lines, with the vast majority of Democrats voting against it and Republicans voting against it as well. For 10 plus years, 4 of the New Bedford area state reps have blocked bills giving veterans preference in housing. So this was written by my good friend Michael 3 days ago on New Bedford Guide, and so you can go there and check it out if you want. The heading on it is all 5 New Bedford area state reps vote against giving homeless veterans preference for housing in Massachusetts. Again, Tony Cabral, Chris Hendricks, Chris Markey, Paul Schmidt, and William Strauss, because we love ourselves some illegal immigrants, right? I'm going to save this off so I can reference it again tomorrow. Just put this button right over here, and because chances are some of you that were listening a few minutes ago will not be are not with me at the moment, so I want to make sure I got it. Awesome. Thank you to whoever sent it to me. And I have that information too. Let me just see. That was sent to me by Joe Pyers. So thank you, Joe, for that. All right, we got to wrap it up and get on out of here for the day. But, I mean, this is what's going on. And this is, the Democrats used to be able to get away with all this kind of crap. Between the anti-Semitism, they'd blame it on Trump and MAGA and you and me. We're all white supremacists. You knew you weren't a white supremacist, right? You always knew that. But yet they told you were, and the press would report it, ABC, MSNBC, CNN. They'd tell you that you're over and over again that you are white supremacists. We know who the white supremacists are. We know who the anti-Jew, the haters are in this country. We know who the anti-Semites are. It's the Democrats, and they've proven it in the last couple of weeks here. So, we know who votes against our veterans. We know who's for illegals and putting illegals over everybody else and all of this kind of stuff. We know it. And the Democrats have really exposed themselves for all of this in the last few weeks. And I hope people are following it, and I hope people are learning. Quick break. We're coming right back to wrap it up. Welcome back to the program, and that's when Linda Ronstadt was with the Stone Ponies way back in the day, right? And she's got some health issues. I'm not sure what it is that she's got. Is it MS? I think she might have MS, but she can't perform anymore. And always a very beautiful lady and wonderful voice. And I didn't like her politics. She was married to Governor Jerry Brown. How can anybody be married to Governor Jerry Brown? But I don't know what it is about the air and the water in California. It just kind of makes people crazy, I think. All right, we're going to have to wrap it up for today. There's I guess a standoff between police and what they're calling protesters in Portland, Oregon right now. New York University, the encampment is back. That was just broken down and dismantled by police. How many times are police going to have to go into these campuses and dismantle these? Shame on these college and university presidents that won't deal with the situation head on. And I don't know. I'm not sure. Watching the UCLA activity this morning live on television, so disheartening to see so many of our young people involved in this kind of activity, and where does it come from, and how are they so easily manipulated, and so on and so forth. Look, everybody's got a belief system now, and I think the belief system is natural. I think we're taught right from wrong, but I think a certain amount of it is natural. And when you allow yourself to be convinced to believe certain